Willie Fritz and the Tulane Green Wave have consistently been one of the top six teams in the AAC, and it feels like this year they might have a chance to take an even bigger step, maybe even contend for an AAC title. It feels like they have the talent to do it, and there's plenty of depth to go along with that. It really comes down to, can their top 10 compete with the top 10s around the league? And there are some exciting non-conference games, like Oklahoma's coming to Tulane, and that's going to be exciting. And it'll be really interesting to see how they compete in those games. But today we'll talk about the top 10, and there's some exciting players with a lot of potential. Number 10 is safety Darian Rakestraw. He transfers in from Colorado. He started for Colorado last year, and now he's going to be starting for Tulane. Coaching staff is really high. They like what they saw from him in the spring. A guy who really dominated and is going to secure one of the starting spots for a secondary that needed another piece, and he gives them what they're looking for there. And it's another guy who's going to run, be a leader on the backside, and take care of things that he sees up front. Number 9, maybe the most important player for Tulane this year, is quarterback Michael Pratt. Over 1,800 yards with 20 touchdowns and only 8 picks in 2020. A guy who many think is going to take a step forward this year. A guy who's going to play a big role in how good the offense is. There's a lot of talented playmakers that he has to utilize, especially at running back and wide receiver, and he has entire starting offensive line back. So really the ball's in his court. It's up to him how high this offense goes, and this offense is a big reason why Tulane should be in contention for an AAC title. Number 8, nose tackle Jeffrey Johnson, an experienced player that flirted with the transfer portal, entered the portal, and then decided he wanted to come back. He and Memphis transfer Joseph Dorcius are going to be two of the better interior defensive players in the country, and it'll be exciting to see what those two can do. Number 7, linebacker Marvin Moody. 59 tackles, 5.5 tackles for loss last year. Just one of the linebackers that is thrilling to watch. We're going to talk about the other two in a second. And they're going to be the leaders of the defense. They're going to be the guys that make the most plays. They just know how to be in the right place at the right time. Number 6, center Sincere Haynesworth. Offensive line is loaded, like I said earlier. Return everybody, and it's going to be tough to get on this list if you're on the offensive line. And we'll talk about one other guy here in a little bit, but there are a lot of talented players that if you don't know about Tulane right now, you probably should get familiar, because this is going to be a team that's going to surprise a lot of people, that's going to contend in the AAC, going to cause a lot of problems for a lot of American teams, and it'll be exciting to see how high this team can go. Number 5, wide receiver Jaquan Jackson. It really came on strong towards the end of the year. 425 yards and 8 touchdowns for this passing attack. Like I said, if Pratt can take a step forward, guys like Jackson are also going to thrive because of it. Number 4, linebacker Nick Anderson, the second linebacker that we'll talk about today. 88 tackles, 10.5 tackles for loss last year. One of the more experienced players on this Tulane team. One of the leaders on the defense, and he's going to be a big reason why this defense is one of the toughest to beat this year. Number 3, wide receiver Deuce Watts. Leading receiver for the Green Wave last year. 512 yards and 6 touchdowns. Again, Jackson and Watts are just two of the pieces in this passing attack, and there are many more. And it's really, like I said, it's really on Michael Pratt to decide how high this offense is going to go. Number 2, guard Corey Dublin, a guy who's been on, he was second team all AAC last year, been on everybody's radar for a while, and just continues to produce and exceed expectations. 50 games of experience. A guy who can get the job done, and a little bit of a nastiness to him, and it's going to be nice to have him in the trenches. Then number 1, linebacker Dorian Williams had a monster year last year, second team all AAC with 97 tackles, 15.5 tackles for loss. Just a very long, rangy player that can do a little bit of everything. He can rush the passer, he can battle in the trenches, but he can also get out in space and tackle. And a very strong, powerful player that has a lot of potential even at the next level. So it'll be exciting to see what he can do, and then exciting to see what happens when people start noticing him. This is an absolute loaded list. I'm really excited about where Tulane is headed. There's a lot of pieces back that are going to be key contributors, and there's a couple pieces that will determine how high they go. An AAC title is not out of the question. I think with the roster they have returning, anything short of a title game appearance would be a disappointment. But Willie Fritz typically exceeds expectations, and I think this is another year where they take it to a new level.